Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Alpha Type Podcast, episode number 21. And today we're going to be bringing on Euler from one of my favorite games. I've been playing Zeeverse with my 5-year-old for 2+ years. We play it all the time. It's an awesome game. It's visually appealing. It's got amazing sound, the attention to detail across all of it. Just something, one of the things that I really enjoy in Web3. Joined, as always, by my co-host, EJR. EJ, I know you're not super familiar with this project, but you've heard me talking about it. But yeah, it's one of the more beautifully done projects, I would say, in this space. Just a lot of attention to detail, a lot of quality. Really excited to introduce you more to it and to the viewers here. So welcome, sir. And I know you don't like to shill, but I'm going to shill one quick congrats to you on Big Pool launch.
Oh yeah,
I
we can
think
show big
in the
pool.
past
I actually
week.
tried to put it in the background, but the backgrounds need to be so small. But I did want to say one thing. That's why I'm raising my hand, right? But next time I'll just cut you off.
Just
Welcome
cut me off,
everyone.
man.
I've seen this project for a long time on my timeline. It is absolutely beautiful. I just don't have time to play many games whatsoever. But it's beautiful, and I'm excited to meet the founder.
Yeah, right on, man. I
And
do make time
Big
for
Pool
games,
crushing
and
it.
I use
We
my
hard
kids as
pushed
an
yesterday.
excuse.
We hard
Yeah, no,
pushed
congrats.
yesterday so hard to try to top Final Bossa to force a reveal. We became so close. We're verified though now, and come on.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, it's amazing that it's been only 1 week since we've had a show. It feels like it's been about a month, but it's only been a few days since you launched that thing, and I bet you that feels like a month too. So, no, big congrats. You guys minted a ton of them in that 24-hour open mint. They've done well on secondary. Great marketing. I love the vibe that you guys are putting out. So, yeah, just wanted to say congrats to that. And that's Big Pool. To anyone listening, check it out. It's a cool project, run on Abstract off of the Bitcoin project, which is also pretty dope. So, anyways, with that, we got Euler waiting backstage for way longer than I intended. So I'm going to bring him out, introduce him right now. And here he is. Euler, welcome to the show, man.
Well,
Welcome, Euler.
guys, that was really nice intro.
I'm glad you appreciate it. I didn't keep you back there for so long, but I forgot I wanted to congratulate Ed on his launch. But yeah, no, what I said about the game, 100% true. I am not one to sit here and shill bullshit on projects if I don't actually believe it. I really do. I think you guys have created a just like a masterpiece of a game from a visual perspective, the audio perspective. That's the one thing that stood out to me right away about the project. Everything you guys do is quality. All the videos you put out, everything. Definitely a big fan. I want to allow you to introduce yourself to the audience. I know you didn't start with Zeeverse game. I believe you've been building games for a while. Is that right? So if you don't mind giving us a little bit of a background on how you got started in gaming.
Yeah, so our history as a studio dates back to 2012, maybe. So we've been around for almost like 13 years. Oh shit, like time flies. But yeah, when we started as really small indie, like we're still indie studio, but we started as basically like 3-man studio, something like that. And we were making apps. This was back in the day when app stores and iPhones were like a new thing and everybody was building apps. So we thought, okay, this is something new. And like a few months later, it just somehow pivoted. We should just somehow pivoted into the gaming. So we started by creating like simple games such as Flappy Bird clones and Candy Crush, copycats, things as such. So generally we're just exploring the algo, exploring the like app store, and yeah, pretty much like the baby steps. And from there we found some success. We managed to hire more people. Ended up at some point, we were almost like 80 people studio at some point. And then we just scaled down a bit. But over the years, we managed to build a really strong team, which always has been like the backbone for whatever we do. Yeah, long story short, I have almost 10 years of mobile gaming background. So good understanding of Web2 customer, the user acquisition channels, and so on. But Zeeverse itself is started actually like 7, 8 years maybe ago when we were exploring like ideas for new games, and we ended up making like the concepts of these Z creatures. But fortunately, we never found like a good fit for the theme, for the ambition we had in like Web2 gaming space. So we ended up making competitor for Clash of Clans. So that was actually one of our big games we ended up making. So scaled it, few million players, got few awards for that. But at the same time, we learned like ins and outs of Web2, like mobile gaming business, which generally isn't about gaming. It's more about user acquisition. And we felt that our next thing, what we are building, should be in something somewhere different. And sometimes you open up the drawers and look for the old stuff or just search something. And we somehow rediscovered the original concept art for the Z's, for the what became Zeeverse. We felt that thing hasn't aged a day. It actually looked better than it looked like all these years ago. And that was like a click for us. Okay, we actually have something which is somewhat timeless. Let's try to build something in this new like Web3 thing. And yeah, that's how we started the Zeeverse. But our ambition was always create these, I like to refer them as perfect design games, which are sometimes you play something and you feel it's like a copycat of something, and then it just adds some extra features. So to make it different, but like in reality, it never works out. We felt, okay, if this game didn't have a place in Web2 gaming, maybe it has something in Web3 where this new technology can actually enable you to build a game which is just not possible in Web2. So this was the fundamental idea and ambition behind the game. Long story short, spent like 6 months designing these main ideas, what the Zeeverse will be about, and from that point we started. Yeah, I mean, there is way more than that, obviously.
Yeah, sure.
But,
Yeah, a lot goes into doing a project like this. So this on the timeline, when approximately did you launch Zeeverse? I feel like it was like 2.5 years ago. Is that about right?
I think the first public alpha was almost 3 years ago.
Okay.
This was like super simple version where we let in, like from day one, we thought, okay, we need to build in a public. So that's what we did. There are some cons for that. Obviously, there are a lot of pros for that.
Yeah.
But yeah, like almost 3 years ago.
Okay. Yeah. So 3 years you've been at it. And it looked good when it came out too. That was, like I said, right away that hit me. There was a lot more quality here than what I was seeing from a lot of the other games that had been launching a Web3. And you guys were mobile immediately. That was the other thing that it was shocking, I would say, because almost nobody was doing a good job of even trying to do mobile. And if they did, it wasn't great. Your game played the same whether you were on the PC or on the phone right out of the gates. So I assume that came from building for the 10 years prior on
Oh
all
yeah,
of that.
yeah, and like the funny thing is nobody talks about it, especially not in crypto Twitter, right? But Web2 mobile gaming is still growing pretty crazy. So
Yeah.
we understood that no matter crypto or not, but future of gaming is on mobile. So we knew we have to support it no matter what, and it has to be built with like mobile in the background. But then again, at the same time, we had all this ambition. Okay, we want to build this vast, big world. And like our team has been always limited by constraints of what's possible on mobile. So we thought, okay, let's give them like let's let them fly, right? And we wanted to build something which also works natively on PC. Yeah, and when we ended up like building this completely seamless crossplay thing, which works. It just works. Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's great. And the other thing you guys have done a great job of is incorporating partners along the way too. And again, right from the beginning, you guys were part of building on treasure. So right from the beginning, you go into the world where you play to get to the dungeons and whatnot, and you'd see the other games there. You had Tales of Valyria was in there, and Bridge World, I think, and it was a bunch of the other different treasure games layered around. And you guys did stuff with Curve Finance. You had the Llamas that you incorporated in the game. So talk about that. What was the strategy from the beginning in terms of incorporating these other projects into Zeeverse, not just visually, but actually in some cases, like I said, with the llama, creating characters and in-game items. Talk to us about that.
Okay. Yeah. So I guess us choosing the partners, this was one of the key things. Our advisors, a good friend of mine, Mr. Block, he gave this invaluable tip, which was essentially no matter who gives you money, choose your partners really wisely, because that's like a marriage. So we, from the day one, we went like really picky on who we want to work with, and do we really want to work with them, or we just need to raise money. So sometimes it was hard to say no to certain partners and like VCs, but then again, we are pretty open to partnering with quality projects, and we thought that We started Zeeverse at beginning of the beer cycle on 2021.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And at that point, I have seen word like synergy in my timelines, in my DMs so often that there was nothing more cringier than doing a partnership for sake of doing partnership.
Sure.
And we thought, okay, fuck it. If we do partnerships, let's make them count and let's make them part of experiences. And that kind of it clicked for us, which made us realize that we are not building just a game, we are actually building a platform. Because we have a really sticky audience. There are players who are still playing who started from day one, which is pretty insane, honestly. Because the game has.
I was pretty close to day one, but I don't think I probably missed the first little bit.
You're still early, even if you join now. Yeah, that was super, super early. But that doesn't mean much when it comes to people like starting out. Anyways, putting that aside, and so it clicked that we're like a platform, not just a game. So we really started exploring that angle. Obviously, I've been like a big fan of games myself. I played like a bunch of the game. Like one of inspiration was RuneScape originally, which was around this MMO idea. But then again, I had like a chance to experience some of Fortnite live events. I was amazed by how they pull these things live with all the players online and like literally witnessing those things.
Yep.
So we thought, okay, let's make these experiences, the partnerships, the activations, they should be about experiences. And there is nothing better than creating emotion besides free tokens or free rewards. But yeah,
that helps.
That helps for sure. So we thought,
like
okay,
rewards.
Let's see what we can do. Let's push these activations with live events, with like real world interactions, and see where it leads. We had quite a few nice events in the past. Third one was super cool. I remember that time we had only 140 people capacity at any given time. When we were doing like this voxel drop party from there where people were getting voxels and changing them for the potatoes, we had around 5,000 people literally clicking retry login in order to get in. So that was one of the first time when we got so much traffic, like it literally broke down the servers.
Yeah.
But that experience allowed us to scale.
Yeah. Well, been, so you guys have done a great job on those events and they're always well attended too. You got there's a party island. I see people showing up for events there. Definitely show up for the big game changing events. What's been your favorite one?
My favorite event or my favorite
event? Yeah.
Oh, okay. I actually have two. The most OG one for sure is the Curve event. This was when we literally were trying things for the first time and it was crazy. It was literally like a live mint, play to mint, literally play to mint because you were running around and catching stuff and minting. And actually that collection holds value to this day. So recently Llamas saw like a good activity and spike in market action. But then the Soul Keeper event, which was when we were minting Genesis shards, that was an event where we spent, I think, more than a month literally just developing the whole storyline. And for me, it was just something what was like, I remember I had like goosebumps when I was literally experiencing myself for the first time. So that definitely stuck into my memory.
Okay, very cool. The one that I really enjoyed, and it was both the video leading up to it and the event itself was pretty fun, was with the chasing down the loot pods. I forget what you called it. It was the daily harvest.
Oh,
and you would have chased down the corn pods and the screen would turn all blue and it just changed it. You were in a dream. You had to chase them down and catch those things. That was a good fun. I like that one a lot.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, there's been a lot of it along the way. I've enjoyed watching you guys add to it, develop like the island itself that you just burned down. Like that thing, it just constantly was growing and adding stuff to it and in-game marketplaces and all that kind of stuff. So it's become a very complex environment that you built there, like with an economy and everything tied to it. So walk us through the thinking there. Walk us through what are the major components of Zeeverse in your mind, and like how are you pulling it all together? I know it's a pretty big question because there's a lot, but like how do you explain it to somebody?
Okay, so the original island, and we just literally burned it down a while ago, but who knows? Like nobody saw if it really burned down. maybe. But that island, like you said, it was growing with the features and functionality. And we always thought of Alpha as a place where we are literally just building out the systems. And it was always like super content poor. So I'm like a bit surprised that players are we're sticking around in Alpha, because we, even despite the fact we spend like month developing like this new system, it still comes out with literally no content. And for us, it was important that we build out all these systems in really isolated space where we can control and see how they like interact. We can get some data feedback from it. And once all of these systems are ready, we were always thinking about expanding this into like open world game where all these systems can then be populated with a content. And obviously content needs a lot of room, a lot of space to grow. We finally reached the point where we are pretty much done with building out the systems.
Okay.
So we needed a new home to expand, and we just found one. Yeah, everybody was spending like a week on the ship, and we traveled to this new island. Zeeverse closed beta is running now for probably another 3 weeks, where we are like fixing some issues, adding some missing stuff, and preparing for Play-to-Airdrop. But yeah, small island was more like laboratory where everything is closed and where we can really quickly test things.
Okay.
So,
And some of those components that you built out, so you have the integration with OKX, so you got the marketplace right in game where people can trade their NFTs and whatnot. And you've also, it's timing wise, I'm curious, because obviously you guys were building on Treasure, and they've changed direction over the course of the last month or so. Timing wise, that was probably not convenient for you guys, I would imagine, right? Where it was, you're wrapping up the end of your alpha build and getting all those systems into place, but it was all with the expectation of going on a Treasure chain. So talk to us about like, how did that hit you, and what's been the process of sorting that all out?
I don't necessarily really hit us, but at the same, obviously, I'm like, it was sad for me to learn the news. So I was speaking with both of the guys, with Carl and John, and I'm actually happy for the direction Treasure is taking. And they're still super good friends of us, and we are still partners in other areas. So there is a lot of AI stuff coming up from the Treasure side. So we've been like working closely on this before announcement, so there will be something you can expect from that as well. But regarding like setbacks, I think we were lucky because we didn't instantly migrated everything to the Treasure chain. So there is literally nothing for us to unwind. And yeah, so right now we are looking for some other partners as well to partnering up for the open beta. So yeah, I'll probably won't go there too much right now, but yeah, regarding the Treasure.
Abstract or Ronin.
Sorry?
Keep going. I said abstract or Ronin.
I don't know. Yeah, but we obviously build a lot of cool stuff together with Treasure. And I think one of the coolest things, which still is one of the core components of Zeeverse, is the game exchange. And I think we're the first ones who ended up building actual liquidity pools for ERC-1155s. And that kind of solves a lot, because that means every item in the game actually has liquidity available at any given time. So no matter which kind of resource you end up obtaining or crafting, there is always liquidity available. And I always thought that this is one of the crucial components for our like this North Star mission, which is essentially scaling into Web2 space. And I know everything in Web2 mobile gaming business is about like the user acquisition price and being able to monetize those users. And I always thought that it's not about it is obviously about ownership, like when you think of blockchain, but I think the secret lies in the fact that having the blockchain technology allows you to turn consumer into investor. And when that happens, it should skyrocket like the revenue, what you could generate out of the user, which then means you can go in and scale more aggressively by acquiring more users into the ecosystem. It's like thinking like any centralized exchange, they acquire the user, they're willing to pay like sometimes $100 per one user, because they know like Binance or other guys, they can probably get $500 out of the user on average, right? So
Right.
compared to mobile gaming, that's almost 100 times more. So if the consumer becomes investor, that opens up huge opportunity for scale. And I
Okay.
think the game exchange will just play a big role in that.
Got it. Very cool. So you said that the current beta is going to run for about 3 weeks. That I think it's a closed beta, you said. So it's just
Yeah.
mask holders and land holders, I believe, that
Yes.
are able to get in there. So what happens in 3 weeks once that beta is over? Are you going to open it up wider, or what's the plan?
Oh yeah. So we're gonna open up for everybody, and we're planning to launch that either a week apart or at the same time. We're still like trying to figure out the deadlines for certain features with our Play-to-Airdrop campaign. And it's not just we are launching something for people to grind, like we are doing always with events. We are using these 3 weeks to fix some issues, add some missing features. But the biggest improvement and new thing will be the quests. And the
Okay.
quest is not go and chop 10 wood type of thing. When we're thinking the quest, we're literally thinking the like adventures with storylines where you go and solve some puzzles. You actually have to think a bit because like NPCs, they give you some sort of hints, but they don't like literally pinpoint where you need to go, what you need to do. So it adds a bit of a challenge. And these quests will be main part of Play-to-Airdrop campaign. So instead of making people grind or do something, we will open up Play-to-Airdrop and say, okay, you can earn airdrop points by playing actual in-game content, which is the purest fun part, right?
Right.
And through this content, through these quests, you end up exploring different aspects of Zeeverse, and that kind of hopefully makes you fall in love with the game. So that's the thing. And on the other hand, we are also launching, I should probably shield this to you after the podcast. We are launching ambassador program. It goes live together with Play-to-Airdrop, and this will be a bit more complex system where we spend a bit of time working. So it basically combines some DeFi stuff with the more advanced referral codes. The kind of core idea is to give fair revenue share and fair literally share of everything to people who help us grow. And yeah, but we'll soon start to share more details and send out the
Very
creator
nice.
briefs. But I guess I can give you some alpha after that, after the
Yeah,
call.
there you go. Yeah, we'll check that out.
Yeah.
So 3 weeks to open it up, and then how long do you think you'll be running those events and the airdrop campaign for? Is there a timeline on that?
We're thinking roughly 2 months in total. Maybe we'll cut it a bit shorter. And the way we plan to do this is we will launch like few initial quests. They will take, I think for most of the players, knowing our player base, they will most likely complete them all in one day
Yeah.
if they
Yes, they
spend a
will.
few hours. But I'm hoping that there will be some sweat. But then, because we have this quest system in place, we plan to add every 2 weeks or every week, like basically every 1 to 2 week, we will add like more quests inside the game that unlocks more content. But then that also gives people a reason to come back to play Airdrop campaign and kind of jump back in a game and complete like this new quest. Yeah, that's the idea.
Quick aside on the players completing it all in one day. I remember when you guys launched the Forge and you created that level 30 dungeon master guy that you thought was going to be impossible to beat, and somebody beat him the first weekend.
Yep.
I just saw a reference to that in the Discord the other day. That's why it was top of mind. No, there's some of these players are all in, man. It's wild. So when do you see turning the spigot onto the like wider audience, like the non Web3 audience? Does that happen after this kind of beta phase?
We actually are, it probably won't start on a day one, but we currently have a lot of creatives in production for testing ads on different Web2 channels. And we still have a pretty big network of like old Web2 partners and stuff like that. So usually the way the apps are tested and scaled in Web2, like mobile gaming, is by doing a soft launch, which essentially means opening up the game in app stores available to few regions and acquiring some users through Facebook ads or Google ads and seeing what happens with those users inside the game.
Yeah.
So the game could stay there probably a month, 2 months, 3 months. So we see, okay, everything is good and numbers adds up. And from that point, we can just literally start to scale our Web 2, let's call it like a Web 2 arm, and see where it leads. But yeah, I mean, there is a lot of work around this and it happens all at the same time.
Sure. Yeah.
But open beta is pretty much when we really want to start to touch the ground in Web 2 gaming.
Does that
It's
mean
gonna
you
be
are
fun.
you going to be taking it out of test flight? Because the app's still in test flight, right? Not necessarily in the App Store. Is that going
Yeah.
to be part of it too?
Yeah, that basically means I think we will start with Google Play because the thing is when you go in like App Store and if you want to do soft launch, you will only be available in a few countries. So we actually have to check, but I think if we do that, we'll still support test flight for most of the users, if that's possible. But yeah, it's always easier to just go with the Google first, see
Got it.
some retention data, and yeah.
Very cool. Yeah, no, I'm excited to see you guys open it up to the broader audience and let them get in there and enjoy it because I've got a ton of fun out of it. I mentioned this before we started talking to I play with my 5-year-old and he loves the game. I haven't let him loose in the new world yet. I'll be interested to see if he can still handle it because it's freaking huge. It's hard to you got to spend some time getting used to it and finding everything again. So let him loose in there.
It's like just a small piece of what we're about to like release as the time goes.
Yeah,
It's maybe half of first region, and in total we have
gotcha.
9 on the
So there's
roadmap.
more and more coming. You
Yeah,
guys got
but
some room to grow in there, for that's for sure. There's a lot of space.
yeah, and a lot of the gameplay will actually happen on player-owned lands, so that's even another layer of universe on
Yep.
top of Zeeverse as it is now.
Nice. And where do you guys stand with that, with the player-owned lands?
Yeah, so the player lands is so we have a few roadblocks for launching the player lands. First of all, we need like all of the skills out.
Okay.
And so we had a lot of time to carefully plan everything. And the way we're gonna do this is so we don't right away start introducing all the other regions. We'll start by launching lands in the batches where first of all we again want to test some things in a bit controlled environment and along with that we will do these huge content updates because every piece of land introduces new resources and these new resources can be only obtained on those lands and as the players level up they gradually unlock these resources. Landowners have some demand for the land and with that we're launching a land market which is like pump fund for the lands. Yeah, so the idea is in order to get into the land, you actually have to buy these land tokens. We call them community tokens. And as the land is launched, it launches their own community token. And this community token is required for a player to actually enter and play on the land.
Yep.
And as people are like buying and selling these tokens, they fluctuate in price. So that opens up room for speculation. And at the same time, it generates fees for the landholder. So there's always incentive for landholders to keep their lands healthy and attract people
Yep.
because every time somebody joins, they earn a fee. However, whenever somebody leaves, they also make a fee. So I guess we'll see some interesting strategies.
That is interesting.
From
I
landowners.
forgot how much complexity was behind the lands, to be honest with you. As you're talking about it, I'm remembering back to the posting about setting rates on the land and how you can attract people and incentivize them to do different activities and things like that. There's like a whole complex layer of economy that comes along with this.
Oh,
Is that right?
yeah, that's
Yeah.
like a pretty serious DeFi
Yeah.
stuff wrapped into this nice looking graphics.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
it's gonna be interesting.
I don't know if you said it. I know you said you hit some roadblocks, but what is the timeline on those? Where do those kind of fall into beta and all of that?
So that's actually on the list right after we launch Play-to-Airdrop campaign. Most of the stuff is already in place because and at the same time we're also looking for good timing because that's pretty huge release. And when we launch it, we want to make sure there is like a lot of players who actually need that land, who need those resources.
That's a
Our
good point.
idea is to line it with the Play-to-Airdrop campaign, so we get like a lot of players. So we have a lot of new people farming. There's only limited spots, like limited resources available on the mainland, and then bomb. The savior, the player-owned lands comes in, and everybody has a room and wants to buy stuff, and it just
Love it.
combines with the ambassador program, and yeah, it's planning and executing to make the good launch, because I think
Yep.
that's
Yeah, a lot of pieces got to come together, and timing's going to be huge. And yeah, it sounds like you got an exciting couple months ahead of you, to say the least.
oh yeah.
Yeah.
Sure.
So what's been the most, like, I don't know, the most fun or the most rewarding thing to you about this project over the course of the last 3 years that you've been focused on Zeeverse? What's kind of like your personally your biggest triumph, whatever, something that you look back on and you're like, that was an important time for me or an important experience for me?
Okay, I think the most fun things has always been these events, because it's this hard to explain feeling when you're inside a game and you literally see like hundreds of people around you, and especially when you do something. I remember when we were doing Soul Keeper event, everybody was like sucked into a black hole and they find themselves in universe across the stars, and literally everybody was just typing "what the fuck." And you're like literally reading that and thinking, okay, we probably did something really good, right? Yeah. But then on the other hand, when thinking of what makes to keep going is actually the numbers we see behind the game. We see a lot of games just light up with some Ponzi, and after 2 weeks they're done.
Yeah.
However,
Hours like that.
Yeah.
How do you?
yeah, some 24 hours, right? And obviously we're not building for weeks, we're building for years. And when we literally see sentiment shifts, but economy just starts to show better and better results, that kind of keeps us going. And we know
Yeah.
we are on this slow cook. We have something, we have, to be honest, like right now, we have our economy is making more V tokens in revenue than in withdrawals. We are still, after all this time, game brings net positive effects to V token economy, which
That's
is
awesome.
usually you don't see that.
Who are the founders currently in the space that inspire you, and what are some of the games that you think are really the strongest right now?
I've been like always following what Axie did back in the day. And like sometimes what I learned early in the gaming, early in my journey, it was about building and identifying simple things. So no matter if the game is complex or not complex, you just see these things. You just see like a perfect design. And Axie, like all around, has been this great success and inspiration, I think, for whole gamify industry. So I've been a big fan of the founder, and I've been a big fan of the game. I never like really grinded it, but I definitely studied it quite a lot. I recently tried Runiverse. I found that actually quite a good game. I really liked the way they played out the quest system, the aesthetics. I think they did a really good job. I never like really jumped into Cambria. I know like literally everybody on crypto Twitter is playing Cambria. They did a lot of things really good. I'm not sure if I could agree that like it's long-term play for them, but I know they have a lot of, I believe they have a lot of stuff under the sleeve. They will just keep going with building hype and stuff. So yeah, I played a bit of Beacon. I've been like friends with Diego. I actually hate the beat. I hate that game, not because it's bad, but because I'm bad at it. Like
Yeah.
I
Yeah. You and everyone else, except for Carol.
yeah. Karel was god at it. I literally don't know how he do it, because I can't even complete some of the
Yeah.
what's
Seriously,
like,
these
yeah.
missions are like impossible, and this dude would do a no damage run on every one of them, and I can't even complete it. Like I can't even get halfway, and this dude does for the entire thing.
Yeah, that's yeah. So I hate that game,
Yeah.
but it's good
Oh,
for
that
reference.
one, like
You'll
that one,
probably
like
clip that
it
part.
hurts to play sometimes.
Euler hates Beacon. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
All right, very cool. Yeah, no, it sounds like you said, it sounds like you got a couple of exciting months ahead of you. I'm gonna let the 5-year-old loose in there again. I'll give you some feedback, but he can play the whole game. You guys, you've designed something intuitive enough for a little guy to pick it up and actually enjoy it. and know what's going on. Kudos for that. And certainly I enjoy it as well. I pretend that I'm playing with my kids, but I'm playing by myself. I love the game, and I'm super excited. I got my land, I got my masks, I got all the stuff you guys put out. I had a llama, but my kid stole it. It's in his wallet now. Yeah, no, I like all this stuff. You guys are doing a
Nice.
great job, and I appreciate it.
I forgot to mention, probably most of people have already noticed we upgraded the mask collection with art,
Yeah, they
and
look
so
sick. I like them.
we felt that they feel so outdated, and the
Mhm.
collection initially was so rushed that it just deserved to be the same on the same quality as the Zeeverse, and
Yep.
we use it. We actually had a really interesting event, like raffle, we called inside the community to draw 9 new ancient masks. I'm not sure if you participated or you saw
I
it.
was too chicken shit to give one of my
Oh
masks
man,
up, and then you guys gave them back, and I was like, "Damn it! I should have
yeah.
went for it. I almost did, but
I felt like I thought, fuck. Initially, I didn't thought about giving it back. I was thought, okay, let's make it savage, but we still managed to make it savage.
yeah,
But then I realized, fuck, we have enough masks in the treasury already. There is nothing meaningful we want to do with them. And then at the same time, there is like beta rolling out literally in 2 days in a day.
yeah,
And I know few people will be happy, but then we will make so many guys really unhappy just before the beta. And I felt this is not about like you losing stuff. This is about you proving that you really want that stuff. And that was the main point. Just prove you want and put your money on the table. So
yeah.
that's
I thought it was cool. I thought it was a cool concept. So if you don't know what we're talking about exactly, EJR, but they made you said it was 8 of them, right? 8 kind of
there was
legendary new
nine.
masks, 9 of them.
Yeah, there was like 9 101s inside a
Yeah.
collection, and people had to send their masks to participate in the raffle. But if they end up losing, they essentially lose their mask.
Yeah.
And there were 103 masks sent in. So 93, 94 of them were losers. And that would mean they like lose the
Yeah.
Genesis NFTs.
They're like 0.1. It's not it was an expensive raffle ticket.
Yeah.
So like you definitely had to really want it to put it in.
Yeah.
And then they surprise gave them all back at the end. That was the gist of
I was so surprised because when the window was open for people sending in masks, I received some DMs from the guys, and they're like, "Yo, can you do maybe deadline like 2 days later or something? I need to get my salary." And I'm like, "Bro, don't gamble on that." But then again, we feel that fuck, this is how far they're willing to go. Probably we're
Yeah.
doing something right. So respecting
Yeah,
kudos to those guys.
Yeah, you made
And
love, and people invest in things that they love. But yeah, here's the mask collection. I'm sharing it now. Great upgrade. They were cool
Yeah.
to begin with, but these are really solid.
You can sort out the ancients. It's just select the
yeah.
nation filter. It's
Here, where is it?
just go nation. No, nation.
Oh, nation. There you go.
Yeah, and
Ancients.
select the ancients.
Okay, so these were the 9 101s that you guys just made. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good stuff. Good stuff, man. No, it was just another cool thing to do.
Yeah, I have to dip because I get something done, but you guys can continue. I apologize. But it was a pleasure
Yeah,
meeting
all right.
you.
All good, man.
Likewise.
We'll see you on Thursday with Nyx. Yep. See you. We're pretty much winding down here anyways, Euler, but I just wanted to share this, talk a little bit about that recent event. And like I said, I thought it was pretty cool that you guys ended up giving it back. Made me wish I wasn't such chicken shit and I would have actually put it in there. But no, all good. So it's closed beta, 2 more weeks or so, 2 or 3 weeks,
Most
you
likely
said. And
3
then you're going to
weeks.
open up a beta. And that's when the push is really going to happen and start pulling in new users and Play-to-Airdrop. And if you're, to those of you out there watching, highly recommend checking this game out if you haven't already. Like I said, I'm not here to shill stuff. This is actually something I enjoy. And I just think it's really well done. And I appreciate all of the experimentation and like the different integrations and the events and just the care that you guys put into all of it. So just wanted to share my appreciation with you and share your story and hopefully your game with some new people here today. So just thank you for taking the time, man. It was awesome.
Thank you for inviting. So
Yes, sir.
always my pleasure to share and speak about Zeeverse. Yeah, I guess see you in Zeeverse.
Any last second call to action for those watching? What would you tell the listener or the viewers to go do?
I guess just check out and explore the new world. This is a place where all of this stuff will happen. So even if it looks a bit empty now, it will be quite soon filled with much more stuff, including the quest. Go check the mask collection. Just explore the ecosystem if you haven't had any chance until now. And I can promise, like, a lot of the stuff you will learn and become really handy in coming weeks.
All
Yeah,
right.
we're ready to rock.
There you go, man. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for me and my kid too. We'll have a good time with it. But yeah, check it out, everybody. Highly recommend it. That's it for today's show. We're going to be back on Thursday with Nix.eth. We had Nix on prior to going back to video here. We had him on a Spaces. Probably one of our coolest conversations that we've had, honestly. He's just a builder's builder. He's Abstract First project, a bunch of different art projects. I built the Abstract First was the first NFT minted on Abstract. It's got a cool backstory to it, and it actually streams a token out to the holders, which is the first time I think I've seen that done. So he's an experimenter, he's a builder, and he's somebody that believes in the space very deeply. Do check that out. I unfortunately didn't record our last conversation with him, and it was good. So we're bringing it back. We're going to do it again. So that'll be Thursday. And then we're back every Tuesdays and Thursday with another alpha type like Euler here, people who are building real stuff, care about the space, and are trying to provide real value. Follow us if you are into that kind of stuff. Don't bother if you're looking for shills and get rich quick stuff. We don't really do that here. So
I think that's also another bad thing. So we're going to try to
I
find
like money,
appeal
and
for
I
that
hope I
group.
make money on this stuff too.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that's not what we're doing here. That's we're really people doing cool shit like you
But
are. and
you
that's what I
really
like.
intrigued me on the next podcast, so I'll make sure to tune in.
Yeah, Nick, you'll like him. He's really impressive. Really, like I said, believes in the space. He's building stuff to make things better. The simplest way to put it. So definitely appreciate him. I think you would too. All
Sounds
right,
great.
awesome.
Thank you.
Well, then that's it. Thank you everyone for joining us, and we'll see you on Thursday at 4 p.m. Eastern. Peace.
Peace. Cheers.